Yeah. Yeah. Well, a lot of it. And it, yeah, that's always good. I was gonna say, Doctor, but the mic.
Hello, 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 hello. Oh. Good evening. Happy New Year. 2024.
Thank you.
Okay, let's have a seat again. The board.
Yeah. Oh. Happy New Year. How are you? Good, good. Nice to meet you. Well, oh, how are you?
How you doing? Happy New Year.
I'm glad to see you.
But then you like her.
Happy New Year. Aloha. Happy New Year.
You'll need it.
Okay, it seems like everybody said hi to everybody. Let's start this meeting out. But again, Happy New Year. There's some new things on the agenda, kind of changed some things around. Special considerations all stay the same. That's good. Rules of participation, I changed the times that we're going to use using for each person to speak. So last meeting we had, I kind of fell down on that one. So right now, from now on, those speaking should be concise and limit comments to 1 2-minute term. Okay, you have 2 chances to speak 2 minutes. If we have a presentation, it's 5 minutes. People need to talk about it. Leave 3 minutes, that's 2 chances. It's what we'll be talking about actually tonight. It's pretty important stuff. The other things I've changed on this one is actually, let me start by calling to order, and we'll do a roll call right there. We'll start with Lindsay Huggard. Dave Barber.
Here.
Milton.
Here.
Judy, you told me what you're not going to be. Michelle. Okay. Ruki Kim is in the hospital. Luella.
Here.
Okay. Morgan Lee.
Here.
Louis Caldera said he was going to be online. Mohammed is online. Christopher Assault.
Yeah, I'm here online and Quadri.
Thank you. Angie Solomon. All about it here. We do have forums, so 9 members. Okay. I was going to go to the public liaison. That's where we'll go. The fire department sent, I believe, a email. I think I want to say yes or no, but I believe they were going to, and I don't have it. I was hoping I'd see it. Yeah. Please a second on that. Okay, statistics provided below represent the current number of incidents in neighborhood boards geographical area previous month. If you have questions, email the fire department. Incident statistics for December, structure fires 2, wildfire, or excuse me, wildland and brush fire 0, nuisance 4, picking 0, activated alarms 10. Emergencies, we had 132 emergencies. Motor vehicle collisions with pedestrians were 2. Motor vehicle crash collisions 11. Mountain rescues none. Ocean rescue 0. Hazardous material incidents 1. Nuisance fires include rubbish fires outside a structure or vehicle. Fire safety tips and announcements. Lithium ion batteries supply power many kinds of devices, including smartphones, laptops, e-scooters, e-bikes, e-cigarettes, smoke alarms, toys, and even cars. If not used correctly or if damaged, these batteries will catch fire or explode. Always follow the manufacturer's instructions. Only use the battery in charging or designed for these devices. Replace cords that are damaged, frayed, or sticky to the touch. Charge devices in a cool area with good ventilation. Do not keep charging after a device is fully charged. E-scooters and e-bikes should be only charged outdoors. Similar devices should be placed on a hard, non-flammable surface when charging, never on your pillow, on your bed, or on your couch. Store batteries away from anything at time. And that was for our fire department. Thank you, fire department. Okay, next. Honolulu Police Department. I see both of them up there, yeah? Yeah. Let's go with, who's going first? District 1. There we go. Welcome, Happy New Year.
Hi, Happy New Year. Thanks for inviting us. My name is Paul Okamoto. I'm the new major assigned to District 1. For those that don't know, our district spans from Punch Bowl all the way down to Ala Moana, and from Ala Park just to Punahou, Hau'oli, that area. So I think our area of responsibility is a fairly small sliver of your neighborhood, but I'm looking forward to addressing any of your complaints in our area and working with you folks for solutions. This is Lieutenant James Farrell, and he has some statistics for you guys from last month.
And just to give you the statistics for the area of your neighborhood that we cover, motor vehicle thefts this last month, December 2023, was 4. The previous month was 5. Burglary cases was 5. Previous month was 4. Theft cases 1, down from 6 previous month. UMV, which is just breaking into a vehicle, stealing items from a vehicle, 7 cases, down from 3, or up from 3. Sorry. Assault cases 2, down from 4. No sex assault cases, no graffiti cases, and 1 drug case, which was the same as the prior month. Total calls for service to our district for the month of December was 416, which is down just a little bit from 427 the prior month.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for the officers? You have one.
Happy New Year, officers. I asked this question a couple months ago and just wanted to ask again. Is it possible when we get these stats to get them against like a 12-month rolling average so we can kind of compare longer than against just the previous month?
I think we could probably do that. Yeah. The next time that we come on, we'll have an average for you guys.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Awesome.
Anybody else? Comments? We have one right there. Yes, sir. Right up the mic.
Question.
My name is Luciano Miner. I'm a member of this community, and we got to find our area. It's interesting to see that McCully Moiliili has about 26,000 people, and the crime was 1,700, equal to 0.7 crime per person. While in Waikiki, they had 18,900 people and 3,000 crime, equal to 0.16 crime per person. So Waikiki, with less people than McCully, Moiliili, had 1,000 more crimes. So this is an important statistic that can help you understand. Hey,
Wrap it up.
wrap it up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's very important information that the board should analyze
I
to
understand
make
that.
the decision.
I understand that, yeah. But you have 2 minutes to talk.
And if one count the tourist, then the crime per person is 0.4, which means that the crime there is reduced because you have a police station over there that work very effective, and we don't have it over here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I don't think there was a question in there, right? That was just a statement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then we have Joanne. Joanne?
Yes. So I want to ask District One, my issue is always all the homeless that's getting, it's really getting bad again on King Street. So can you tell me the number of homeless you have put into some kind of housing or shelter, and the number of homeless are still out there? And why they have not been, why hasn't the sit and lie law been placed in our area as well, from District 1 to District 7? Why is it that only Waikiki has the sit and lie law? Why isn't it all over?
So if it's you want it to be sit and lie, I think you'd have to bring that up with the legislators.
They're useless. They don't do it. They veto it.
Sure, we can only enforce what what laws are passed. So if it's not a sit and lie area, it's we obviously we can't enforce it. We do have our SPO operations. Those are every other week, so you see them coming out. I think we just had one a few days ago, and those are very regular.
It doesn't do anything. They keep coming back. You got to do something. Every time I say you're doing something over and over and getting the same results, which is insanity. I see Scott Nishimoto there. Maybe he can answer the question.
For sure, and as the police department, we can only do what the law allows us to do.
Yeah, that's why I said why aren't the lawmakers making stricter laws? What are they doing?
Yeah.
They veto everything.
So that's something that
Okay.
you have to continue to bring up with your legislators.
Yeah, why don't you ask Scott Nishimoto? He's right there.
Okay, thank you, Joanne. Anybody else have any questions for police department? No? Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Hello, Happy New Year. Yeah, District 7. District 7?
Yes, sorry.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, District 7, Lieutenant Nero here from District 7. Happy New Year, everybody. First, we'll cover the statistics. So motor vehicle thefts, 27 compared to 24 last month. Burglaries are down 5. Previous month was 14. Thefts at 21. Previous month, 15. And UEMV is 18. Previous month was 20. Total cost for service, 66,355. Security tips that we have, based on home security tips. Don't tempt a thief, store lawnmowers, bicycles, mopeds, surfboards, or any valuables out of sight. Trim shrubbery around your house to reduce cover for burglars. Louvered windows are intended for ventilation, not security. The most common way burglars make entry into homes in Hawaii is the removal of louvers. Blue glass louvers are purchased locking clips to increase security. And finally, be a good neighbor. If you notice anything suspicious in your neighborhood, please call 911 immediately.
Thank you. We have a question from Dave. But remember, if you have statements from police, you have to address them to me, okay? Keeping those guys up. Dave, your question.
Yes, I want to know if you have a vehicle that's legally parked in a street parking and someone calls the tow truck and has it towed away, even though it was legally parked in street parking, and you find your vehicle is gone, what can you do about that?
So your question is the vehicle is legally parked, but it was towed away, and what can you do to obtain the vehicle?
What can you do about that once it's gone? And the tow truck would not even tell who authorized the tow.
Yeah, so you could call 911 and inquire as far as what happened to the vehicle, just to make sure it wasn't stolen for one thing.
Well, we
And
know
then from there,
we know what happened to it.
Sorry?
We could see on our security camera that the tow truck came and towed it away. But
okay,
shouldn't an officer have to ticket a vehicle before it could be moved from a legally parked public parking spot?
yes. Well, so if you call 911, they should be able to tell you if it's a vehicle that was towed. We have what's called tow logs. They can let you know what happened to the vehicle if it was towed by us, and they can give you the information. Usually you call the tow truck company just to verify, and you can go down and retrieve the vehicle.
Yeah, it wasn't mine, it was the neighbor's, but that's what had to happen. We had to go down there and pay the $150 to retrieve the vehicle, even though it was legally parked in a public parking spot, and a private party called the tow truck and had it removed.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You would have to look at the citation.
There
Sometimes
was no
vehicles can be-
citation. The police were never involved until I called them after the fact.
You say the police department did not cite the vehicle or the ones responsible for towing the vehicle? Was it private
They
property?
did not cite the vehicle, correct?
Okay, if it wasn't our tow truck that was requested by the police department, I'm not sure. It could be like a civil matter. You can inquire with the tow company.
Mr. Tow. Anyway, I don't want to take up any more time, but that's what happened.
Okay.
Is there any way you can check for it, check on it for him?
The vehicle? So they called 911 and 911 said that the police department didn't tow the vehicle?
911 sent an officer out, and we told him what had happened, and he said there's nothing he could do about it. This is after the fact that the vehicle's already been towed without any authorization from the police.
Okay, so just to clarify, so HPD was not the one who towed the vehicle, correct?
The police did not tow the vehicle. Private tow
Okay,
truck company did.
Okay, so it sounds like more like a civil matter. If the police department wasn't involved in towing the vehicle, I'm not sure why that vehicle was towed. I don't know if there's some type of private property issue concerns regarding that.
That's basically what the officer responded, said it's a civil issue, but I don't understand why it's a civil issue when somebody has a vehicle removed from a legally parked public parking spot. That's enough anyway.
Okay, thank you, David. Thank you, officer. Joe? Okay, Morgan?
Yeah, officer, I just have the same request that I made of the other officers who were just on here, which is that could we get our crime stats compared to 12-month rolling average so we can kind of see a larger context for what crime looks in the area?
Okay, and you want it broken down by month, is that correct?
My thought is personally, and other people may have different opinions on that. It'd be helpful to say like we had 4 auto thefts this month compared to the rolling average of 6 auto thefts.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check with the person who makes the stats. They put them all together and see what they can do.
Thank you.
Okay, Joanne.
So again, my question is about homeless issue and crimes. Can you tell us how many people who are homeless are committing the crimes percentage? And also, I hope that the police officer who was shot the other day is okay. And you know what? To me, they should have shot him earlier. Not him, not the police officer, the criminal, instead of bringing him all the way down to Moiliili University, kind of close to my house.
Okay. As far as your question, ma'am, I'm not sure. Your question is how many homeless are committing crimes?
Yeah. How many
Uh,
crimes are committed by the homeless that are outside, from petty theft to, you know, sexual assaults, what kind of stuff is what I hear. So I'm just asking you if you know percentage wise. And another question is just real fast is, do you think the government is at fault for you not being able to do more than you can right now?
Well, let's take one question at a time. So as far as the homeless thing, yeah, that statistic, we don't have that statistic. I don't believe we track that. You know, it's not like there's something we log on if there's a crime that's committed and whether or not they're homeless or not.
Mhm.
Um,
Maybe you should, because Alamoana Shopping Center has a lot of homeless crimes.
okay. Sorry, what is your other question?
I forget already. What did I say?
Yeah, 15
Sorry, about the
seconds.
government.
Oh yeah, the
Go ahead.
government. Do you think that you're being not able to do a lot of things, like removing the homeless forcefully, is because of the government not issuing out stricter laws? So if the government issues stricter laws, would you be able to do more things to help us?
Okay, wrap it up, Joanne.
That was the question. You just asked me to repeat it.
Well, like the major Okamoto had previously mentioned, as a police department, we can only do what laws we have that enable us to enforce those laws. Yeah.
So then that's why my question is to you. Do you think because the government is not giving you those laws to help you enforce what you need to do you blame the government for that?
It's not my position to blame the government, ma'am. It's just the laws that we have, and we have the ability to enforce the laws that
Thank you,
we
Joanne.
have.
We're gonna move on from there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, when it gets hard, nobody answers, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else have any questions for the officers? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, next Board of Water Supply. Barry. I knew that you were.
Hi, good evening. I'm Stephen from the Board of Water Supply, and our monthly report is for our main break. We had one right here on Pumahana Street at 742. It happened on December 6th. It was an 8-inch rain break. And our announcement is about water conservation. So just the basic easy tips to conserve water, like checking for leaks, replacing your old toilet with a WaterSense labeled toilet. That's a 1.28 gallon per flush or less toilet. It does qualify for a $45 rebate from the Board of Water Supply. Planting drought-resistant plants, purchasing a rain barrel, which, by the way, you can get a $40 rebate from the Board of Water Supply, and then always putting a nozzle on your garden hose, and you can get all a bunch of other great tips on our website at boardofwatersupply.com. So, yep, that's our monthly announcement.
Very much. Anybody have any questions for Board of Water Supply? We have one here.
Given the presentation that you guys did last year about the increase in rates, can you just remind everyone what's going into effect this year and if there was anything that was different that was adopted than what was proposed in the meeting?
So everything is pretty much the same. The first rate increase will happen on February 1st, and then the next one is, I believe, I think it's in July. I'd have to double check. It's a couple of months later because it's how our fiscal year lands. Yeah. So the first rate increase will be February 1st.
What can you remind us what the increases are?
It's like, I believe 10%, 10%, something like that. Yeah. I don't know offhand. I don't have my notes with me exactly. Yeah. I can definitely send you guys something. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, no, no problem. Put me in the hot seat here.
Anybody else have anything? Water supply. Thank you very much.
Yep,
Happy New
you're
Year.
welcome. Same to
Have the governor, or excuse me, mayor's representative. Michael Keefe, there you go.
Hello, everyone. Mike O'Keefe, Mayor's Rep. Just a couple of updates for this month, and then I have about 9 follow-up questions from previous months that I'll report on. But first and foremost, the mayor's January 2024 newsletter is out, and I will, as soon as I'm done talking, I'll drop the link in the chat for that. There was a question, I believe it was from the November neighborhood board meeting. There was a request to update the community members on the ongoing case involving the city and the ACLU regarding the city's homeless sweeps. And so I've got an update on that. Which is as follows. The required proposed findings of fact and conclusions of law and decision of order from the city and the ACLU were filed in November of 2023. The city took a final deposition of one of the ACLU's witnesses on November 14th of 2023. There is no further briefing. The judge will issue a decision after the official transcript of the final deposition is submitted. The city is waiting for plaintiffs and witnesses' counsel to make corrections to the deposition before it is submitted to the court. Once they give us their corrections, if any, we will file a quote-unquote submission to the court with the transcript of the witness's deposition. Thereafter, the judge will have everything they need to issue his decision. And there was an update I'm sure several people saw from this week, which was that on yesterday, a circuit court judge denied the ACLU's request for an injunction, which effectively allows the city to continue sidewalk sweeps and park cleanings until a decision is rendered in this case. Second item, follow-up. There was a request from November. Can a summary of the city's programs to address homelessness be provided? So I do have a summary. It's actually like a kind of a single page flyer it's pretty comprehensive. It's all of the city's programs targeted at homelessness. And what I'll do, it's not something that's readable, but what I'll do, Chair, is I'll send it to you, and you can distribute it as you see fit. Third item, the subject of red light running question. Vehicles frequently run red lights at the Moiliili and Waiaka Street intersection and the Hihivai Street and University Avenue intersection. Question, can the same speed bump traffic control measures installed on Kapiolani Boulevard be utilized at these intersections, which are near schools? The city's Department of Transportation Services responded to this one. They're asking whoever asked this question to verify the locations because neither of the locations that were identified have traffic signals. They're both controlled by stop signs. So if I'm not sure if that person is here tonight, but if they could clarify those locations, DTS can look into it further. Next item, what is the contact information for the Department of Facility Maintenance for concerns about vegetation growing out of sidewalks? Is sidewalk maintenance part of a routine schedule or done as reported / needed? So Department of Facilities Maintenance did respond to this. In accordance with city ordinances, the maintenance of vegetation in the sidewalk area is normally the responsibility of the abutting property owner. Concerns related to vegetation growing out of the sidewalks can be submitted to the city's Department of Planning and Permitting Residential Code Enforcement Branch. Their number is 768-8127. Typically, what happens then is an investigation will be conducted and the persons or agency responsible for the maintenance will be notified of what they're responsible for. Concerns, the same concern can also be submitted through the city's 311 app. Fifth item, related to the pedestrian bridge at the Alanayo stream, aka Houston Ditch. Why is the small bridge closed off? Small pedestrian bridge. City's Department of Parks took that one. They requested a while back that the bridge be structurally inspected. After the inspection, it was determined that the main steel supports for the bridge were badly corroded and the bridge was unsafe for public use. The bridge was then closed. Currently, there's no immediate funding to restore or replace the bridge. And the restoration will need to come in budget for the restoration will need to come in the CIP budget. Sixth item, it was related to holes at the Alawai Park. At the park near where the Alawai Bridge is planned, the Alapono Bridge is planned to be built. Chicken have dug several large holes. Can signs be installed to warn people of the tripping hazard, or can the holes be filled in? Department of Parks and Rec noted that the holes were filled and leveled off by their maintenance staff on November 29th. Number 7, Alawai Park wall. A wall on the Malka Diamond Head side of the McCully Bridge has been vandalized over at least the past 7 years and has gotten progressively worse. What can be done to address this? This issue has been raised previously, and a timeline to repair the bridge from the city or from the wall from the city was requested. So Parks again took this question. The staff inspected the rock wall adjacent to McCully Street at the Eva end of the canoe area, and they initiated a work request on November 28th to have the wall repaired. So that work request is pending. It's in the queue. No completion date at this time, but they promise to get to it as soon as they can. Second to last item, broken fence. Oh, this is a duplicate. Never mind. Sorry. I think it's a duplicate. Oh, I'm sorry. No, this is actually an update to the one I said earlier. Slightly different. Broken fence at the Alanayo stream, aka Alston Ditch pedestrian bridge. Says the requester said that this fence has been broken and an eyesore for every year. Can the fence be repaired and removed? So Department of Parks and Rec initiated a work order for this fence as well. The fence will need to be reset and relocated within the park property due to the erosion taking place on the bridge. The work is scheduled to take place early this year. Last but not least, McCully Bridge sidewalk. The person asked, the sidewalk on the Diamond Head side of the McCully Bridge is undersized and too narrow. Are there plans to address this issue, or can it be addressed? The city's Department of Design and Construction responded that the existing sidewalk width is 4 feet 9 inches, which exceeds the minimum sidewalk width of 4 feet even. That's the required per the ADA guidelines. Widening the sidewalk on the Diamond Head side will be technically infeasible due to existing water mains and support structures outside the bridge that would need to be relocated in order to widen the bridge. Funding for bridge rehabilitation is limited, therefore only bridges in poor condition are being addressed at this time. And that wraps up my my reports from the last month. Sorry that took so long, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
I have one question for you. You were talking about that sidewalk, that 4.6 feet.
Yes.
But there's that hole right in the middle of the sidewalk. How can that be? How can that be safe the way it is? Can't be.
Okay, that's the,
You should go down there and you
that's-
should look at it, go, oh, that's what they were talking about. It's not a good place. You can't, if a person's on a bicycle and a person walking, you can't get past that.
okay, it looks like they just responded to the question about the width of the sidewalk. I can have them, I wasn't aware that there was a
Well, it's not
hole in the
hole,
sidewalk, but I,
the walking space between the wall. Holes in the middle of that side. Oh, sorry. But yeah, check that. It's, we'll talk about it next month.
there's a,
Don't
so
wanna
it's
keep
just,
it.
just to clarify, Chair, it's a hole in the middle of the sidewalk?
Not a hole, it's the pole, P-O-L-L. There's a pole in the middle.
Oh, pole, sorry, okay,
P-O-L-L.
got it.
No, this is the pole here.
okay,
P-O-L-E, pole.
okay, understood, thank you. I'll follow up on that.
Okay, anybody have anything down here?
Yeah, just one quick question regarding the rock wall along the McCully Bridge where it's damaged. I think the question was regarding the repair was also, is it possible to look at making that entrance into the park? Part of the reason I think it's getting damaged so badly is because people are going over the wall there where it's damaged, so it's kind of almost like a stair. And the opening that is available further down actually goes right into the parking lot. So rather than having pedestrians walking through the parking lot, would it be better to have the opening further up where that damage is?
Got
Instead of repairing it, making it.
Yeah, got it, thank you. I'll find out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Megan?
I just wanted to, was on Cook Street a couple of days ago in Kaka'ako, and I was really pleased about how that street had been changed to put bike lanes on there and also made some of the traffic directions clearer. And it was a great improvement to that street because I've seen a lot of people get really confused at the intersection, and also because the street is really wide itself. So I was super happy that they put bike lanes in. I was wondering if this particular area in our neighborhood, I'm going to give boundaries in a second. So Houston, Kapiolani, McCully, and King. I was just biking over here just now, and I always find that there's like a very like inconsistent two-way stops, then some are four-way stops, then there's a roundabout at some point, and the streets are also extremely wide, and so you can't necessarily always see people, and then people tend to go, or drivers tend to go faster as well because it is so the streets are so wide. Anyway, sorry, I know I'm painting a lot of context here, but is there any way that we could get some of the additions that were made on Cook Street and put them into this particular section? Because I think it would really, really help traffic flow. It would help bicyclists, and it would give some more organization to how traffic is currently flowing in that area.
Thanks, that's a great question. I'll follow up.
Okay, anybody else on the board have any questions? Okay, audience. Oh, okay, that's fine.
Hi, Mike. I'm the one that asked about the raised crosswalks or even bumps at both at the Alawai School and the Kuhil School. And what they are is, yes, they have stop signs, but I've been watching for 43 years for Alawai School and 15 years for Kuhil School, and people constantly run those sidewalks. These are blind corners, and school kids cross, people with dogs cross. These are both very dangerous places, and simply having the bumps that are along Kapiolani or wherever, or the raised crosswalks, which are at other schools, would be really important. So the location, Ki'iwai and University should have, it has one stop sign, and that could be raised because especially the Iolani school parents run right through that. And on the other coming Mackay on University Avenue could be a stop also there, so they don't cruise around that corner really fast. There was somebody in Complete Streets that called me up and wanted to do a roundabout there. I said, that's not going to solve anything. So I think I talked him out of it, but I don't know. The one on Kuhil School is actually The location is where Moiliili and Waiaka come together. It's a noticeable in our Moiliili community. They come together right at the junction, right at the Moiliili Japanese cemetery. And what happens, again, it's a blind corner and people do not stop. They even speed up going through. Both places they speed up.
They wrap it up.
Yeah, and it would be, there's stop signs on both ways, but they need something raised so they will actually stop. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Laura. I'll circle back on that.
Okay.
Daniela Minervi, I live in the neighborhood. Could you please, sir, elaborate more on the vandalism that is happening in that part of Alawai Park, closer to the McCully area? Can you elaborate more? What type and does it happen at night? Can you tell us a little bit more? And what is the increase from, you mentioned, the last 7 years?
I'm sorry if just to clarify the question, it's about the vandalism that's happening.
Yeah, can you please elaborate on the vandalism that is happening? Tell us more. When it's happening at night, what is the increase in the last years? You mentioned vandalism. Can you tell us more?
I can try to find out from parks if they have information on that. That might be a question for HPD.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
I'll see what I can
visually,
find out.
There's some description of what is the damage done to the public bathroom, to the walls, Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Check for you. Hello. Hello. We're back. We'll check on that. Okay, anybody else? Or the mayor's representative? Going once, twice, 3 times. Thank you very much. Happy New Year.
Well, Happy New Year.
Elmer for University of Hawaii is still on vacation. He'll be back at the next meeting. Just let you folks know. Governor's representative Matthew is sick. He's out also. Now we have board business. Now we're coming to some fun things. Okay, we have a resolution requesting an environmental impact statement, EIS, for the Alawai Bridge project. Laura Ruby is going to be doing that, and during it, I'm going to ask about a resolution. So just listen up, and we'll work on this. Yeah. Well, 5 minutes now.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Laura Ruby, part of the Alawai Friends group. And we have been very committed to responding to every single meeting that has been held about this proposed bridge from the Department of Transportation Services and Complete Streets and whatever. And it has received federal money. We have passed other resolutions regarding the more specific nature of the design or things like that of what people have proposed without asking us as community members. The main things we want in this resolution that I'm going to read is, I better read it off the screen here, is to, one, have community input full. That would be a charrette or a gathering of people where they actually decide on what should be done at a site or at a bridge, whatever. Second, a full EIS. And the reason for a full EIS is so that people will do the due diligence that has to be done about the community. That is the environmental, historical, cultural, social, interpersonal relationships of everything, of people that are occupying these sites and come very frequently to fill the whole Alawai Park and across the way to use the Alawai Promenade and of course to do the canoeing on the canal. And so I'm going to read this out loud, and then I'm going to ask for a resolution be put before the board, and then there can be discussion after that. Okay, so I'm going to read it very fast. I'm sorry, I'm turning around a little bit here. The proposed bridge over the Ottawa Canal plan design shows no regard for the residential communities on both sides of the canal. The proposed plan design shows no regard for the extreme contact with tourists, vagrants, and criminal transients. The proposed plan design cuts off and obscures many significant view planes, view sheds of the mountains and the open canal waterway and green park spaces. The proposed plan design shows crowding and obscuring or protecting the protecting the historic Ottawa Canal and the Moiliili canoe. There is no inclination to preserve or protect these historic locations. Okay. The proposed plan design shows no regard for the endangered native colea and white tern from obtrusive bridge visual and structural impacts of an overbuilt bridge design. Oops, is that already? The bridge proposal is neither urgent nor necessary, whereas the overbuilt, towered, stay-cabled concrete abutment bridge proposed is an affront to the neighborhoods, the McCully and Moiliili neighborhoods, as well as the Mackay neighborhood on Kalaimoku Street, that's in Waikiki. And whereas the proposed bridge will seriously impact the park users' enjoyment of the park, the community gardeners, the paddlers, the McCully Senior Softball League, and especially the students and parents of Ottawa School who drop off and pick up the children in the parking lot area to walk across to the park playground. Whereas the question that must be answered is, does the community want to preserve all historic view planes or view sheds of Diamond Head and the canal and the promenade? 82% of those attending the community empowerment meeting at Ottawa School September 9th answered yes. Whereas another question that must be answered is, does the community want any kind of built structure on either side of the canal? Then here's our final things. Be it resolved that the passing of the previous Neighborhood Board 8 resolution suggested that the city and county would seriously respect the community's wishes, but that resolution was ignored. Thus, this 2023, now 2024, resolution is needed to urge the city and county to abandon the bridge and its design. Be it resolved that and any planned bridge will disrupt and bisect the historical Ottawa Canal and Promenade and the historical Ottawa Park, and should therefore not be considered an option for Waikiki egress. The ringing of bicycle paths already encircles the whole of the canal. Be it resolved that the community does not want a bridge over the Ottawa Canal and that the neighborhood board sends its resolution to the appropriate city and county officials and requests a city and county response in writing and further requests a full EIS for the site. So the main takeaways are the full EIS for the site and full community participation. And now I'd like to ask for a board member to place the resolution into the board for further voting and discussion. Dave?
Okay, we need
Dave?
I request that the board take a vote on the resolution.
I have a
Second.
question before that.
Somebody needs to second. Then the discussion comes after, but the discussion.
I don't want to vote on it until I ask this question.
Okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
Will there be an EIR after the
Wait,
EIS?
Second. What?
Yeah, sorry, Chair. Just a point of clarification. Dave, are you making a motion? You say you want the board to vote on it. Are you making a motion to adopt or to?
Yeah.
Okay, and then, yeah, we do need a second before we go into discussion.
So,
We need a second before, yeah, any questions, anything, because if there's no second, then there's no point in asking any questions, right?
I'll second.
okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So what they have proposed is a draft EA, which is a very slim form. They're trying to get around the community by doing that. And then they'll trigger a 45-day response period with what's called a FONSI after that. And it's just trying to play games with the community who's not going to know all that ruling. And I'm sorry, I don't know the initials that you stated and how they might impact either.
Environmental impact study is the first report. The next one is an environmental impact report, which addresses all the mitigating measures. So I'm asking, will there be an EIR?
They're going to try to do an MOA, which will be
Memorandum of Understanding.
yes, And see, they're going to try to do it. And if we are not aware and we are not moving very quickly as a community, they will do what they want to do. And that's what they've wanted to do all along. They have never given the community an opportunity to make any decisions that have had significance. And I do want to spend the time to have Luciano come up and give his part of this also too. So, but
Just a quick, maybe point of clarification, because I think after the draft environmental assessment was published, there was community involvement and there was an opportunity for the community to vote on both the location, which was selected by the community, as well as the design. So I just want to correct that.
No.
Because the assertion that the community hasn't had a chance to have any say in it, when this has been a discussion for, the last 20 years or so.
not to
I
interrupt
just
you,
wanna
but
make sure
I've
that
been to
that
every single one of
I'm
the
not
meetings.
sure that
Don't
everybody
wait,
else.
hold,
is
hold,
aware.
Okay. One person talks.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, I've been to every single one of the meetings. Even from the outset, the very first one, they never let the communities decide or put forth what they want to have, if they want to have a connection between the Mackay and Mauka residential neighborhoods, I might add. Okay, so let me have, if we can have Luciano step in.
Next,
Yeah, he's going to.
3 minutes.
Thank you for the opportunity. Every few years, we come here to testify against the bridge and we are ignored. But there is a 10 point why this bridge is not appropriate. There is opposition to the bridge since 1970, 1980, 1990, the year 2000. There is issues of public safety for the school children of Alavai Elementary School. And I think you have a record of a letter of the principal raising the concern about the school. I can give you another copy for all of you. Public safety for the people at the Alavai Garden. Yeah, this Alavai Garden is used is a friendly place and it can be encroached by loitering and stealing of the food. There is this is a major point, conflict with the city and park permitted time regulation. The park closed at 10, from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. If you build a bridge, pedestrian and bicycle is open 24 hours. That is against the city regulation. And also the bridge will encroach on the park conviviality. This is a small, little, beautiful park for our neighborhood that is heavily used for many purposes. And the bridge will adversely impact that. There is, and this to me is very important, disregard for the cultural and ethnic minority needs. That place is used by the Micronesian for the elderly, the children, and the youth. They go there not just to have a family picnic, they go there to meet as a community. It's the only place that they can go to meet as a community and to organize themselves. And the bridge will take away parking, so there will be more competitions for people like them and everybody else like us to use the park. There is
Okay,
already.
we have 15 seconds.
Yeah, you cannot even know the issue. But I sent it to you 2 months ago, so I hope you have read what I sent it to you. But there is 3 policemen. Every time there is the school, people coming in and coming on. So it's already very congested, the street. And
Thank you very much.
the bridge, there will be more congestion.
have to move
and
on.
competition. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, anybody? Go.
Thank you. Cam Napier. I live in the Marco Polo Here once again to support the bridge, both the idea of the bridge, and I'm also one of the people who likes the design. I think you look at the built environment on both sides of the canal. I don't see a lot of inspired architecture. I think that the bridge has a chance of actually being the prettiest thing that you see that was built by humans along the canal. I don't know what to make of this resolution. It claims to be requesting a full EIS, but the language of the resolution is complete and total opposition to the bridge in any form. So the resolution itself, I personally can't support it. Doesn't make any sense. And the community engagement, I mean, the city plans dating back to the 70s have had community involvement calling for additional bridges, plural, over the Alawai, of which this is just one. So, you know, there's been decades of community support for more bridges over the Alawai. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Greg? Greg?
Thank you. I wasn't sure that was me. So first of all, my name is Greg Masakian, and for full disclosure, I am the Subdistrict 2 Vice Chair of the Waikiki Neighborhood Board, but I'm here representing myself this evening as a member of the community, and I live very close to where this bridge is going to be built. In fact, it's in my view plane from my lanai, so I'll be watching it if it's built, if it's going to take 3 years or 2 years or whatever. So I would like to state, and I just wrote quick notes here so I could say this quickly. I have participated in a number of meetings in the past, I'd say six to 8 months regarding this bridge, meetings, discussions, you know, some one-on-ones and some group meetings. And most recently we had a Zoom meeting that was participated with a number of officials and department heads. And my takeaway from reading the EA draft report and also from participating in these meetings is that the draft summary that was completed does not actually reflect what's in the draft report. So there's a summary and findings, but if you read the actual report, the summary doesn't reflect that report. And I've written hundreds of engineering reports in my day, and I spent a considerable amount of time reading this draft. And when I speak to everybody and go to these meetings, my personal takeaway is that a full environmental impact study is required. There's no question in my mind. We are going to be discussing this on the January 9th Waikiki board meeting, so this is on agenda. There's a different version of this resolution, and I'll leave that there, and I'm going to let other people speak. So I just wanted to add that there will be another opportunity on January 9th at the Waikiki neighborhood board meeting to discuss this. I thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening, Chair.
Thank you for coming. Daisy?
Thank you, Chair. In 2017, the city proposed 5 bridges over the Alawai Canal area at $5 million each. Now, the thing is, all of a sudden it became a one bridge at $64.5 million for a pedestrian and bicycle bridge with something looking like a sail. Guess what? The public never had a chance to discuss what the design would be. The city kept saying nothing, nothing, nothing. And then all of a sudden, it wasn't until Allison Schaefer wrote the article and showed what the conceptual design of the bridge is in this Honolulu Star Advertiser. That's the first time that any of the community ever saw the design of it and couldn't believe that it doesn't belong in Hawaii, especially in 100 plus or about 100-year-old canal area. And don't forget, on Waikiki side, they're gonna make the sidewalk even wider, and it's with no trees, no landscaping, no grass. When the Army Corps of Engineers does their walls, guess what? You're gonna sit on hot concrete. You're gonna be walking on hot concrete. You can't walk a dog. A lot of people will have heat exhaustion. So you have to really think of what this bridge is gonna do. It's not only gonna affect people, but you remember, this is Hawaii. This is not the mainland. You can see something like that in Rotterdam, in Europe. but it doesn't fit in Hawaii. So you have to really think of what is involved. And paint, even though it's 63 million now, guess what? It's just for pedestrian and bicycle bridge. It shouldn't cost that much, and it should be more like Hawaii. So you need to really think of what it is, and the public never did vote on it at all. So that is um that's why a lot of people are in opposition to the design of the bridge. A simple bridge is enough. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jan? One more time, Jan.
I'm Jan. My name is Jan Rensel. I'm a 40-year resident of Iolani Court Plaza, and I'm a cultural anthropologist. And I also read the draft environmental assessment, and I was so heartened to hear Greg's comment about the full EIS being required, because that is my feeling as well. The main thing I'm concerned about is crime, and I found that the word crime was barely mentioned in the draft environmental assessment and needs to be acknowledged and discussed in a full environmental impact statement, and as I understand it, and then the mitigations proposed and discussed in the report. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Now we go to board. Okay, board, now we can ask your questions then. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I just had one comment because I know lots of people are concerned about the crime issue. So I don't know of any evidence that bridges increase crime in neighborhoods. There is, ample evidence that, increasing access to green spaces, beautification of neighborhood parks and green spaces makes them more attractive for residents and families. And in fact, and speaking as a former professor, this literature clearly shows that this reduces crime in these neighborhoods. So the physical environment impact on crime, so ambient lighting, artificial light, improving use and access to green spaces, all have been proven in other cities to reduce crime. So I think if we want to make our neighborhood safer and more attractive and appealing and used by people and families and children, I think this bridge is a great place to start. I also think, with regards to the design, I think Honolulu is just as every bit as cosmopolitan a city as some of the European cities people have mentioned. So I think that the bridge would be well suited here and a great addition. But I think most importantly, it's the access to the amenities in the community that we want to enable between both of the neighborhoods, Waikiki and McCully, Moiliili, and for people to be able to use the bridge to access, whether it's the dog park or the amenities in Waikiki, and to be able to do that safely without going to the McCully Street Bridge where the bike lane is definitely not safe.
Thank you. Good. Anybody else on the board have any comments? Okay. Great.
All right, my only concern here is just that EIS that you said that maybe on the 9th is when they will have a discussion about the EIS. And also I hear about the community. It seems like based on the draft that I was reading, it's like the community is not in agreement with the bridge. There's something that I believe that we'll have to consider it as well.
Thank you. David?
Hello. Laura, I was just curious. I don't know, was it back in October when they were floating plans for a more mild bridge version? What led you to write this resolution after, I feel like, I don't know, we had a conversation about some of the more mellow bridges.
Yes, thank
Also,
you.
can you
We-
remind people what the other?
Yes, what we did is we had other presentations of which there were modest footbridges. If you know the Alanayo Bridge, it's about 10 feet wide. And if you look at the other ones we presented, of which Dave Barber took a picture of one in Iowa, and I got one from Banff Bridge also. These are footbridges that don't have any pillars or posts inside the canal at all. They're low, not high. They do not have towers. They do not have steel cables. All of those things take away from, first of all, the cost. It's a tremendously lower cost, and it is much more of a pedestrian and bridge or bicycle bridge. This one is 20 feet or more wide. The proposal is so overbuilt. In other words, if you can understand federal money, when it's given to somebody, they just go wild. And these people are hired on and they just do the biggest and best thing they think they can because they want to be in the Guinness Book of World Records. And so this is what's happened. So it is not something that is, it's neither urgent nor necessary.
Are you the resolution to the environmental impact study? That I'm sorry.
Yes.
To put in this bridge. Yes.
Yes, because none of the many times I wrote in commentary and testimony, and I know other people did too, we were never answered. Nothing was ever addressed. And our main concerns to start with first, and that's why the full EIS is necessary, is about the community concerns, how the community uses the park, how the other side, in Waikiki, that's residential, uses their area on the promenade there, and how the historical canoe and all of the canoeing that goes on in the canal and the gardens and everything else, how they're all addressed. And this is not addressed in the draft EA. And we really need to have the full impact of the cultural aspect of this before anything goes further.
Thank you.
It's not addressing the design or anything at this
Thank
time. It's just.
Louis? Louis? Louis Caldera?
Sorry. Hi, Chair. So I
Hello.
just wanted to ask a question. I thought the intent of the resolution was to urge the city to actually do an EIS. Is this really, like one person had stated, the resolution states that we as the board would support the community in not having any option for any bridge at this point. Is that what we're voting on?
That's not the resolution. The resolution is simply to get a full EIS, to know the dynamics of the community, the cultural, social, historical reasons that the community exists and what its use factor is in it. Remember, we want a Hawaii sense of place, and we want the community to be fully understood. These people don't necessarily even live in Hawaii who are designing all of these things. And so they don't necessarily even know us and our uses. As Luciano mentioned, it's a community groups of Pacific Islanders that come all the night. They sing, they get together. These are really welcoming places for everybody. And that's why we need all of the further full EIS. So it doesn't address anything about, we're not saying anything about, quote, the bridge. We're talking only about the full expression within a community.
Thank you.
Chair, I'm going to have to abstain because I feel like the last resolution and the last resolve, I think it was highlighted, states otherwise.
I agree. This resolution is kind of confusing, and it doesn't state what the presentation and the presenter says that it states. I also, again, do recall your previous presentation, which was about, more about wanting the bridge, but a different design. So it does feel like maybe you're just bringing different presentations about different things, and they're not very clear. So I don't think this is a resolution that we should continue and vote on.
No, finished with. So it's up to our board members to decide. For all those who don't. Resolution.
Yeah, so Chair, if you want, I can go to a roll call vote on the motion on the table that was made by Member Barber and seconded by Member Kohler. Or conversely, if they feel a different type of way, they can also choose to remove their motion in their second. But I can go to the roll call if that's what you'd like.
Yeah.
I'd like to remove my second.
Or if it's easier, I'll call to dismiss it, to cancel it.
Yeah,
Like-
sorry.
Yeah.
Just to be a little more clear, the motion would need to be removed first.
I make a motion to remove it.
No motion. Yeah, no motion. It would be Dave, the one who made the motion. Yeah. But if Dave doesn't want to remove it, then I recommend we just go to the vote.
He doesn't want it. So-
Okay, so I'll just.
Second? Second.
Yeah, so the motion would need to be removed before the second would be removed. It would only be after Dave removed his, would Luella then need to remove her second. So the current motion on the table,
Well, it did. remove
yeah,
her
but
second.
Luella would only be called to remove her second if Dave had already removed his motion, and Dave never
Do
removed
we
it.
need a second to move
The-
the motion to be able to vote on it?
The second was already made earlier in the discussion, and even though Luella said that she wanted to remove it, she can't remove it unless Dave removes his first, or his motion, yeah. I recommend, if we just go to the vote, it sounds like the board all knows how they want to vote individually, and then you guys can just, yeah.
Exactly. Dave, you are. You vote?
I can do a roll call,
You do
Chair.
a roll call.
Yeah. So the current motion on the table was made by Member Barber and seconded by Member Kohler, and it was to adopt the resolution requesting an environmental impact statement for the Moiliili Bridge project. Allred?
No.
Barber?
What do we say? In favor of the resolution passing?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. DeVilbiss? Kim? Still have to call it the names. Lee?
No.
Caldera?
Abstain.
Solomon? Quadri?
No.
Kachuk? Solace?
No.
Duvall?
No.
Kohler? Robati? The motion is not adopted with 1 aye, 8 noes, and 1 abstention.
Okay, we know it's hard to do, but we're gonna have to move on to next resolution presentation. Running out of time. What it is resolution presentation, Hawaii flood risk management projects. We passed out a lot of these.
Chair, I have a question. I do have a presentation, and I also want to separately go through the resolution. It is going to be beyond 5 minutes. but-
Yeah, 5.
Okay, but with my presentation, we go through everything pretty thoroughly. It's 3,000, I'm trying to consolidate 3,741 pages of the draft EIS so that you have enough information to make a sound decision. I can cut out a lot of my presentation and just go through resolution, but I think part of it is you need to know the basis behind it because I've spent hundreds, if not thousands of hours going through all these things for the past 5 years. Logan, can you put up my PowerPoint? Okay, so I'm gonna run through it. If you have a problem, I'll just cut it off.
Okay.
I did send all of you the resolution. Hopefully you read it.
In
If
that
you have
case-
questions, you can answer. Okay,
5 minutes.
Aloha and Happy New Year, Chair Robati and McCully Moiliili Neighborhood Board members. First, I want to thank you, all of you, for your service to our home and to your community. You are the protectors of McCully and Moiliili, and your actions do make a difference. This neighborhood board previously passed 2 resolutions that resulted in this re-evaluation by the Army Corps and City. My name is Dave Watase. I've been following this all-Hawaii flood mitigation project since 2015, and I've attended almost every meeting. I've gone through all the studies and reports dating back to 1998, and not once do I recall any community member saying we want more concrete flood walls. To date, neighborhood boards within the Hawaii watershed have voiced their opinions and passed 18 resolutions. Diamond Head, Kapahulu, St. Louis Heights Neighborhood Board passed a resolution last month concerning the draft supplemental EIS. And Manoa Neighborhood Board passed a resolution last night. All board members present unanimously voted for the resolution. The Army Corps published their draft EIS on Thanksgiving Day. And the public comment period ends in 4 days, so time is of the essence. This project costs $1.75 billion. The benefit is $905 million. The project includes flood walls around Woodlawn, Moiliili, Hawaii Canal, and the golf course, and a golf course detention basin. The project is designed to mitigate the 50-year flood. Previously, it was for a 100-year flood. The project flood walls is the worst alternative because it leaves the canal open to the ocean. The canal is tidal influenced, subject to high tides, tide surges, and sea level rise. A downgraded hurricane with a minor 4-foot tide surge combined with a high tide will negate any benefits from a 6-foot flood wall, a very short-lived and poor investment of our taxes. The flood wall requires all interior storm drainage to be capped off for several hours in order to work. The flood walls will induce flooding in Kapahulu, McCully, Moiliili, Ala Moana, and Makiki. The Army Corps criteria considers induced flooding mitigation involves 70 structures and assumes 100% cooperation from private landowners when in fact 100% will probably oppose using their property or having a wall in their backyard. The cost in the draft supplemental EIS by the Army Corps for acquisition of these private lands could be as high as $5.47 billion and is the responsibility of the non-federal sponsor, our city. We believe there are better, more economically feasible alternatives that are not tidal influence, such as underground tunnels that capture floodwaters in the higher elevations and bypass the canal and go straight to the Hawaii Harbor. A floodgate floodlock system at the Alamo Boulevard Bridge and a flood pump at the golf course networked with tunnels could completely bypass the canal and handle the lower watershed floodwaters. With a floodgate flood pump network, we could lower the canal ahead of a storm and to create the detention space, go down instead of going up, and use the golf course as a backup detention basin if needed. I will point out some of the obvious if you look on the screen. The flood map on the left is without the project. The flood map on the right is with the project. This is for the 52% or 50-year storm. They show Woodlawn Bridge overtopping based on their data and their studies. It's not supposed to flood. Something's wrong with their modeling. Okay. On the right, this is with the project. You'll see Waikiki has no blue. Okay, but McCully, Moiliili, the Ala Moana, Kakako area does show blue. So what are the benefits of the wall, to the residents Mauka of the canal? Also, if you look at major schools like Iolani School, Alawai Elementary, they are in blue as well. So they will flood even though the wall is right next to their property. Can you go to the next slide? Yep. Okay, so these are the elements. There's I walls, J walls, and L walls. Okay, can you go to the next one? Okay, there's an I wall around Kamaki High School's athletic field. They didn't even bother to contact Kamiki High School or any of the other
We're
schools.
out of time.
Okay, this is the Manoa flood wall. Yeah, this, can you scroll down more? This is the Koali flood wall. Basically, all of St. Louis Heights, the drainage will be blocked off and it will flood Koali area.
You're gonna have to stop there, sorry.
Okay.
So my recommendation would be if the board or community wants more input on the presentation, you just ask those questions, and if the board is able to entertain it, then either Dave, or if it's pertinent to anyone, I mean, it's about open disclosure, right? If there's no one here that is interested in that, and I'm not saying there isn't, but if there's no questions to be asked, then it would make sense to move on. So it's up to the board and you as the community to ask those questions.
Yeah, I'll start with the board first. Anybody on the board have questions for Dave?
Yeah, so basically this, please, my position is please support the resolution that was handed to you in advance. Thank you.
Anybody want to make a motion to resolution?
I'll make a motion.
You can second it.
That's what we need now.
Can you summarize the key points of the resolution that's different from what is in
Okay,
existence?
the key points basically are, you know, the action, where it says, be it resolved. Okay, and the information behind that is, on the previous projects, the city council PIG, consisting of Tommy Waters, Ann Kobayashi, and Carol Fukunaga, spent $699 to hire Oceanet, and they came out with community-generated alternatives. They also did community engagement, a lot of it, 10 times more than the Army Corps. So that's the description in here. Part of that is the community we are behind the Oceanet plan. So on the 14th paragraph, on the first, be it resolved, it basically describes what I just said, you know, flood tunnels, floodgate, flood pump, and a network of them. Okay, the second resolve is at all these community meetings, this even goes back to 1998, I would say 90% of the community comments, or over 90%, have been asking for ecosystem restoration. That was actually part of the original Army Corps plan. In 2012, they removed it and they never put it back. We're saying do both. What's so hard about that? And that's that resolve, okay, that they need to consider that as a part of this plan rather than separately. They also, we had a engineering forum that was put on by the Army Corps, and they had a Arizona contractor, okay? The Army Corps brought this guy in, and they told us what they did in their community was they got an advisory group from all the community members, you know, to work with the Army Corps to develop something that the community will approve of and support and thank them for. So after that, this, where we're saying, you know, make a community advisory committee consist of the neighborhood boards, that's already in a resolution I believe that you guys passed. Okay, you guys have passed 2 resolutions on the previous project. This project, I'm just telling you, it's ignores the community and it's bad. There's a lot of flaws. The last resolve, well, actually, that is the resolve. Yeah, advisory committee, and we request that the city not commit, you know, without addressing the community's concerns. And like I said, there's hundreds. They just ignore it. You know, they dismissed the 100-page, $699,000, report that the pig produced in 2 paragraphs. All they said it's too expensive, it doesn't work. Okay, and this is by Oceanet, who actually did the original hydraulic and hydrology study that the Army Corps is using for this project. So all of a sudden, it's like they don't know what they're doing. I think that's wrong. So again, please support this resolution. I put a lot of time into it. The statements here on the whereases is factual. There are things that were taken almost word for word out of the 3,700 something pages, and including where they refused to come to neighborhood boards. They haven't come here to present the project. Manoa and Diamond Head made those requests,
Okay, wrap it up.
and they said they didn't have the resources to come here to talk to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know who could answer this, but I am curious, how do we request that they come to a neighborhood board? I thought that line stood out in the resolution a lot. And can community groups just decline, or not community groups, this is a government organization, just decline to come? I don't know if this is a question for you or for Logan or one of the elected officials on here.
I think any individual, because we have a lot of these meetings, we've had board members, including chairs, participating in their meetings. And in the chat, when they give public comment, those requests were made. And I think Manoa did it in writing. Their vice chair did, and they just said they don't plan on doing it.
We're just at the one on street.
Previously on the other project, Jeff Herzog probably went around to all the neighborhood boards almost twice. It was a whole different public engagement. And that was actually after it was funded, right? But they couldn't change the project to what the community wanted. So they're reevaluating it this time around.
Anybody else on the board have?
Quick question, are there other proposals for flood mitigation other than the one that the Army Corps is proposing and the one that you referenced?
What's in the draft EIS are those elements. Like I mentioned, nobody and I'm talking hundreds, have participated in this over the years. Nobody has asked for more concrete, more channelization in our streams. In fact, it's the exact opposite. And again, they just dismiss it or ignore it. Hundreds of pages have been submitted, and it's like nobody reads them. So, all we can do is submit resolutions representing the community. They have to address those concerns that are expressed. And it just keeps on moving on. Hopefully, our government elected leaders, when they look at all this stuff, they are the ones who can really say we want change or we want this, So this process is part of the process. And like I said, I've been engaged with you guys for almost 5 years already. Yeah.
We have one person, Greg is his name? Greg?
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick comment. This project and the LOI pedestrian bridge project go hand in hand. In fact, all of the bridges that go across the LOI canal are integral to this project. And the McCully Bridge and the other bridge. So the clear thing that I see here is that there's an EIS here. And what I also have found from discussions is that the two groups don't seem to be talking enough, or, if at all. I mean, I'm not aware of any hard discussions and hard follow-up regarding this large tower bridge proposal and this, the wall that's proposed to be established there. And the concern with that is grave, because when you don't communicate, you spend money, you go forward with these large endeavors, and we all know what happens after the fact. Even the Aloha Stadium, when nobody was really paying attention with the steel that was used in the lifespan of the stadium, that was an issue. And we can maybe think that the tower bridge could have the same fate down the road with the salt air. But I urge all of you to reconsider going forward if Laura brings back another resolution also for the bridge next month, to reconsider that with different wording. I hope that she does that, and that you will all consider that. And one very last quick comment. When members of your board come to our board to present, and I'm respectful of your board, I think you know that from me speaking there, I would ask that they don't represent all of the voice of your board as a board. And one of your board members did that with respect to the large tower bridge at our last meeting. So I'm just adding that comment because it doesn't reflect what I see from your, discussions in the past. So that's just a comment. Thank you for the opportunity again to speak, and I hope you will reconsider the EIS for the Alawai pedestrian bridge and that the groups speak together. Thank you.
Okay. There was comments are fine. You have comments, Nathan? We got Laura Ruby, wants to say something here. Quick now, yeah. Open right now.
Okay, well, listening to Greg is very important what he said, that they need to be communicating, because this is gonna cause some serious issue in the future. If they don't communicate, there's gonna happen that we all gonna be standing on what's happening here. We see these walls, we see the bridge. Now they're planning to put a bridge. That's why it's very important, this EIS. And if we don't talk about that, that's going to be very difficult. So I suggest that we really think about all this before we start making all these decisions. That's all I have.
Real quick now.
First of all, I fully support this resolution. Also, we have said all along with all of our statements and and everything else that the two groups are not speaking to each other and they'll have a complete conflict. Think about if you're driving down the Alawai Boulevard and you're looking at a Berlin Wall. You're not looking at the canal anymore. You're not looking at the Ko'olaus or Waikiki or the Mauka side. You're looking at a wall. When you get to where the bridge is supposedly going, it'll look like an aircraft carrier because they're going to have to do a huge amount of concrete. This is billions of pounds of concrete. And it's going to have switchbacks where the bicyclists have to walk their bicycles down also. And this big aircraft carrier will hang over into the canal, which is historical. So please support this one. It's got a much better chance of making us understand the real concerns of our community. And we do not need the flood walls. Ocean lit is the way to go. Thank you.
Yes, one quick thing Laura said about driving down. You'd look at it differently if it was flooded. Put it that way. Both sides. Both sides.
I'm a homeowner, Valleyville. We were never notified of the engineers that they had this intention of putting up a 6-foot wall. Basically, they're sacrificing our neighborhood to save Waikiki. And when this big storm comes, they're going to close down the drainage and flood our neighborhood. I mean, can we allow that? Should we allow that? I mean, and that's the Board of Hawaiian Studies is right up the road. They're going to, the taro fields, I guess that's the beginning of the, where they're going to start the wall. But it's like we were never notified. I would have never bought into this neighborhood knowing that that was the future that's going to be covered in concrete. Isn't there enough concrete in Hawaii? Is there? Yeah. So that's all I mean.
Thank you.
Things. That's true. Just imagine if you live one day, you wake up and they're, without even notifying you, you find out they're going to put a 6-foot high solid concrete wall that's impervious right behind in your backyard. That's what this project does. Secondly, I'm really not pro or against walls or anything like that. I'm for flood mitigation. I would even think Waikiki residents would wants a better alternative that could provide more flood protection than a 6-foot high wall, which is there forever. What this resolution does is it's telling the Army Corps to look at a different alternative, right? And we mentioned the SWIFT tunnels, it's the underground tunnels, floodgate, flood pump, and keeping the Alawai Golf Course as a detention basin. And if I lived in, I mean, I can't speak for Waikiki, but personally, as a resident, I don't go there very often, but I've run around when I was younger. I used to run around there, and I prefer it without a wall. Simple as that. And there's a better solution, is what I'm getting at. Thank you.
Daisy?
Thanks, Chair. I support the resolution because they've really went through it a lot. I attended the city meeting with the Army Corps of Engineers, and guess what? 3 of the pictures shows a city complete street, which is right where the bridge is going to end or start. So don't forget, the city's involved in both the bridge construction, complete street to Olivine Boulevard, which would mean taking away lane of parked cars, adding a huge sidewalk, another adding a wider bicycle pathway with only maybe 2 or 3 lanes of traffic. And then it also has this flood mitigation thing. But guess what? I attended that meeting too with the city about the bridge. Neither one knew about the other point regarding the 6 to 9 feet tall bridge, not bridge, the walls that they want to attend. So apparently they said they're talking to each other, but they're not. Or either that or all 3 projects are all city driven. So you need to be really think about it because it's your money. So you're paying for all 3 projects. Thank you.
Chair, can I say something? Hi, Chair. This is Anwar Quadri. Can I say?
Yes, okay.
Yeah, I just want to say that right now 8:37, we already spent too much time, on the Alawai Bridge, and we already, based on this agenda, we already. So can we move forward to next agenda item because it's already 8:37, please? Thank you.
Yeah, we want to close the discussion on this one. We're just going to wait for the board. Board, anybody have anything to say? Yeah, go to a vote now.
Okay, so the current motion on the table is to adopt the resolution regarding the Alawai Flood Risk Management Project presented by Dave Watasi. It was made by Member Salas and seconded by Member Lee. I will do a roll call. Allred?
Aye.
Barber?
Aye.
DeVilbiss? Kim? Lee?
Aye.
Caldera?
Aye.
Solomon? Quadri? Kachuk? Salas?
Yes.
Duvall?
Yes.
Kohler? Body. The motion is adopted, Chair, with 10 votes aye, no noes, and no abstentions.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving right along. A quick question I had regarding this board business and presentations. Should we consider starting our meetings a little bit earlier again, 6:30 rather than 7? Or, okay, 6 o'clock? Is that too early for you? 6:30 is fine. Let's go back to 6:30 on this. I think we'd be better off, that it serves. Entertain motion for doing our meetings at 6:30.
I make a motion, we start the board meetings at 6:30.
I second.
6:30 it is. Thank you very much. Any no's on that or extensions? No? No? We're okay. Glad you're here. Okay, now we go back to the elected officials. Calvin Say.
Hello, everyone. Hi. My name is Andrew from Councilmember Say's office. Councilmember was on earlier, but something came up, so he had to log off. Let me see. So for this month's highlights, the newsletter is in the chat, as well as other links concerning the Alawai Watershed Project, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and the real tax property 2024 evaluation process for residents. The mayor regarding the 2024 real property notice of assessment for the 2024 to 2025 tax year. You should have received a notice, but if you haven't received the assessment notice, you're advised to call 808-768-7000 or visit one of the real property offices. Some important dates is January 12th coming up. Property owners should call the appeal hotline if they have any questions or if they have any appeals. Hand-delivered appeals must be received by January 12th at 4:30 p.m. Appeals filed online must be completed and submitted by January 15th. Let me see. Some long-term projects. We're still waiting for an update about the Bolodrome redevelopment project. And we also received a few constituent concerns about homeless overnight camping at Old Stadium Park. We've been in contact with HPD and the park managers as well. So HPD has been regularly inspecting the sites. So if you have any concerns, let us know. But if you see any anybody breaking the law, just call 911. Last month's neighborhood board meeting, we talked, there were concerns about the new owner of the Kokua Foods on South King Street. And we emailed our Kokua Foods contact about the status of the property, and she referred to the owner. And there is no immediate construction plans for the old Kokua market, Kokua Foods. And next, we responded to a constituent concern about illegal parking on Eisenberg and King Street. We referred the concern to HPD, and HPD has been looking at the area as well, and they continue to monitor the streets. And lastly, we had a constituent concern about the Houston ditch overgrowth, and we got into contact with we got into contact to report the overgrowth, and the overgrowth has been addressed. Moving on to Pahoa Ridge, it was referred to zoning, Reso 249, and will be heard on Wednesday. If anybody has other concerns or any questions, you can let me know and I can refer them to council member.
Anybody have any questions? No? Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Happy New
everyone.
Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Next, Representative Andrew Guerra.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board. Happy New Year. Great to be here once again. I know you folks have a lot of other elected officials following, so I'll try to keep this brief in the interest of time. I did put my winter newsletter in the chat box, so hope you folks have access to that. It was mailed out to the residents of the 22nd District last week. Just wanted to mention, I think you folks know, but the legislature is going to go into the 24th session is going to convene on January 17th. So we're inside of 2 weeks now. Even though, we're still 2 weeks away from the official start, as a member of the Finance Committee, we've been very busy hearing from the various executive branch departments on their supplemental budget requests. So that's taking up a lot of our time as a precursor to the session. Even though we are going to be busy, I'm going to make every effort to attend this neighborhood board meeting, but in the off chance that I'm not, I do have Laura serving as my legislative aide this session. She'll serve as our community liaison. So there may be times where she has to pinch hit for me if I'm not available. The last thing I wanted to mention too is, I'm still working on finalizing bills I'll be introducing for the upcoming session. We do have a limit of 10, this being the second year of a 2-year session, but I am planning on running through those bills at the February meeting of this particular board. So with that, I'll stop and see if there are any questions. Thank you, Chair.
Any questions for Representative Guerra? Thank you very much.
Hold
Happy
on,
New Year.
hold
Oh,
on.
wait, we're going. Sorry.
Hey, Representative, this is Morgan.
Oh, hey,
I'm
Morgan.
not sure if this is the best question for you. I feel like I've asked you questions before and you're like, it's not exactly me. So
Well, let's
please
give it a
feel
shot.
free to tell me who I should talk to on this. I just wanted to follow up with that story about the DOE and school construction funds. 465 million. What is happening with that? I mean, I read the Civil Beat coverage about essentially the state saying they weren't going to be spending any of this money that had been appropriated. And I
Right.
didn't really understand how they could not spend that money. And then also, I know they canceled a hearing to talk about this in December. So I just wanted to get an update about that.
Sure. Yeah, we were very concerned about the Department of Education's proposal to let $500 million of school projects lapse. But we're very lucky to have our House CIP chair who's scheduled to speak next. So I'm going to artfully defer to him to give us the lowdown on what's happening there. So Rep Nishimoto he's the man on this all CIP things for the House.
Any other questions? Happy New Year. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Representative Adrian Tam.
Sorry,
I'm here.
I'm mixing up.
Hi, can you hear me?
I'm mixing up onboarding. Sorry.
Okay, so anyway, thank you so much for having me this evening. I apologize, my newsletter is still being designed and put together because we were waiting for approval process. But as everything was just said, our legislative session starts very soon. Our office is in the process of drafting bills right now. We have bills relating to domestic animal protections, to homelessness, mobile clinics, and the fentanyl crisis, just to name a few. But I'll have a full list of them in February for you. In the interest of time, that is going to be my report, and I'm opening up to any questions. Shoot. Any questions?
I don't know if you can hear me, Representative Tam, but I don't know if the host is still online here. Can you hear me?
I can
Tam?
hear you. I can't hear anything else though.
Yeah. So Logan, are you still online with us, or did we lose you? Yeah, we may have lost the feed. I wonder if I can see other people. Here we go. I think they're getting it back, or they might have taken a break. Hopefully they.
We're back in session. Okay.
Here we go.
Laura, we're back. Okay, we're back to Representative Scott Nishimoto. Sorry about the delay.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, board and community members. Happy New Year.
In the interest of time, I won't go over what Adrian and Andrew went over regarding session. I'll just say that we are working on bills right now. So if you do have, if you have ideas for legislation, please let us know ASAP because the deadline for bill introduction is approaching. And I'll take any questions.
Questions? Nobody? Yep.
Yeah, I'm just curious who was going to answer this question about the school funding.
Yeah, I can take that. You're
Awesome,
talking
thank you.
about you're talking about the lapse list, yeah?
The school construction funds, I think
Yeah.
the 465 million.
So the DOE put together a lapse list of roughly $470 million. The governor included it in his financial plan. So it is part of the administration's plan for their budget. Right now, we're going through it and figuring out what to do and prioritizing how we deal with it. And it's something that we'll be working through during the session. Our House draft of the budget will probably come out in late February, early March, and you'll get a better idea of what we're going to do regarding those lapse projects. But I think, you know, everybody, all legislators are concerned about it. Those are all projects that we advocated for and that the community said they want. And for whatever reason, we're getting to the bottom of it. The DOE was not able to execute.
Was the DOE supposed to like create the projects or find the contractors to work on them? Or what was the next step after the money was appropriated?
Yeah, so we appropriate the money and they execute. So these are projects that we appropriated for, and the problem was in the execution.
Thank you. And if you said in March, you guys will have an update about where things are there?
Well, you have an update on how we deal with it, how the House is going to deal with it, but it is part of the governor's financial plan.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else have any questions? We have Greg online. Greg?
Just a very quick question for Representative Nishimoto.
Yep.
Just regarding who is, you know, I know there's one person ultimately responsible at some point, a director, and somebody did resign, but who is ultimately responsible there at the DOE now, and how many people are in the department that oversees the funding that is actually orchestrating how to get the work done and the projects completed? Do you know the answer?
I don't know how many people, how many staff they have exactly. Someone did resign. I mean, ultimately, the superintendent is responsible for everything, right? Along the board is also sets the policy for them, but you know, someone did resign.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll know more in the legislative session. Thank you.
Anybody else questions? Thank you very much. Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Okay, Representative Adrian Tam.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me again. A report for January because it's still being approved by the House. But I will have it emailed out if you're able to subscribe. You can email me reptam@capital.hawaii.gov, and we can put you on the list. My report is going to be short. We are all working on legislation and bills before session starts. Some of the bills that I will be working on are mobile clinics for homelessness, fentanyl bills, and one domestic animal protection bill. But now I just leave it up to any questions that are from the board or the audience.
Okay, anybody have any questions? Questions?
Great question.
One more question.
What's the fentanyl bill about?
Good. So as you may know, recently there was a massive sting operation at this nightclub called Ether, where there were like a vending machine that dispenses fentanyl. But it will mirror basically what the city bill is, which is to require all bars and restaurants across the state to carry Narcan spray in the case of a fentanyl overdose, and as well as hotels to carry it as well. I'm also going to propose a bill that would prohibit the sale and operation of pill presses by those that are not licensed to have one. It's basically the machines that they use to make pills. Like, you know, if you're not a licensed pharmacist or pharmaceutical, you shouldn't be having one. Another one that we're thinking about is a bill that would require HPD and first responders to carry Narcan spray as well. And one that I'm still working on is a bill that would automatically suspend any kind of license for a business from the DCCA for any business owner that uses their business to actively engage in illegal fentanyl dealings.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else with questions? Thank you very much. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Okay, Leslie Har was here and had to go, he had an emergency. And thank you for coming. Senator Leslie Har. Senator Carol Fukunaga. Senator.
Aloha.
Hello.
Thank you, Chair. I had distributed my report to the neighborhood board to your neighborhood assistant earlier, so I won't go into it, but I did want to say that there have been some very creative solutions that we are able to pursue, particularly in the area of wildfire mitigation grants on the federal level. And speaking to your LOI watershed and canal resolution, we're also pursuing a number of initiatives, partly in combination with groups that are also working very closely with the University of Hawaii. So other than that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, do we have any questions for the senator? No? Thank you very much. Happy New Year. We appreciate
Thank
you being
you.
here. Okay, Senator Sharon Moriwaki.
Aloha, everyone. You have our report in our chat. Charles Izumoto on behalf of Senator Moriwaki. I'm sorry she couldn't make it. Don't want to slow anything down, so email us if you have any legislation ideas. Thanks.
All right, thanks for being here. Happy New Year. Okie dokie. We're on number 7 on the agenda. Resident community comments. For brief mention of items or concerns or comments that are not on the agenda. In other words, anybody have anything to say? Anybody want to throw anything at us, or anybody have any questions that we might be able to take care of? Yeah, not on the agenda. If you have something you want to say, I'm going to start. You have 1 minute to talk about it. What we're going to do is we'll start with the board first, and then we'll go to the bed. So just saying. Okay, anybody have anything to say on the board? No, no, no. Dave? No? No? Okay, open to you guys.
Okay. I would like to know if the board of the neighborhood board is aware that there is a lot of human trafficking in Waikiki and not in Moiliili. So the communication between these two neighbors is complicated. The other thing I would like to know if the board, the neighborhood board, is aware of who are the people that are using the park. In reality, which are the people that are using the park? What age, what ethnic group? So I would like to know the reality, how much are you gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen, in touch with that reality? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just have a quick thing, just for the board members. If you guys didn't already get, you just double check with me and Paul after the meeting. Have some neighbor board polos for all you guys, and any board members online. Next time you guys are in person, Paul will have your polo shirts. Thanks.
Thank you. Responsibility. Okay, so that takes care of that. Housekeeping and announcements. Next meeting we have is February 1st at 6:30. So if you have an agenda in front of you, change the 7 to 6:30. Right here. Future agenda items, if anybody hasn't worked out good with Laura and Dave, just give me a call or email me, and I'll be sure to get back to you, and we'll get you on there. We'll figure out what hurdles we have and take care of it. I appreciate both of you guys.
Yeah, just a quick thing about your guys' meeting time. So the fact that you guys passed the motion to change it is great. My office will just need to double check with the district park. Yeah. So as of right now, it's not confirmed, but I'll make sure that my office goes through the steps, and hopefully we can have you guys back here 6:30. I don't see why there'd be a problem, but just in case it doesn't happen next month, yeah, just want to be clear.
Get outside. Okay. So let's see. So again, on the agenda items, let me know 2 weeks in advance. We'll get it on there, and then we'll make sure it's right. Broadcast, on channel 49 at 9 o'clock on the third Friday of the month. Bulky item pickup by appointment only. Again, that's the way it is all the time. And reporting neighborhood issues. You see there, honolulu.gov/CSD/concern for the Honolulu 311 app. We are now adjourned.